Caitlin, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, have you had a good weekend so far?
It's been okay, just a lot of work and helped my dad rake leaves for about 3 hours this morning, so that was a little bit of work.
Got a nice cardio workout in.
Yeah,
An unexpected one.
Yes, very unexpected. Very.
So, you said that you worked. Where do you work?
I work at Banana Republic in the mall.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I love that store. That's a nice discount.
Yes, very nice.
How long have you worked there?
It's a little over a year now, I think.
Oh, wow. In it for the long haul. Okay. So tell me a little bit about yourself. So you said you worked at Banana. What do you do outside of work?
Well, I'm a student at BCTC. It's my first year there, so I'm a freshman.
Oh, wow. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
So how's the transition been from high school to college?
It feels just about the same. Like, honestly, feel like I'm still in high school just because of the level, I guess.
Oh, really?
Everyone's at. So,
yeah.
But it's going pretty well right now.
Well, that's good. Do you know what you're studying at, or are you still undecided?
I think I know what I want to study. Right now, my major is medical laboratory sciences because I want to go to pharmacy school.
Okay.
So that's the plan right now, but that can always change.
Yeah. Definitely in your first year, but that's good that you have somewhat of an idea of what you'd like to do. Okay, so you said you worked and you're a student. So tell me a little bit about why you're here today.
So I went to my doctor just for like a routine checkup and everything, and he had mentioned that after taking my blood and doing the results that I had high cholesterol or slightly high cholesterol, so they recommended that I would come and see a dietitian and just see if we can possibly lower it by changing my lifestyle and like habits and everything.
Okay, yeah, definitely. High cholesterol is something that we see pretty often, so that's definitely something that we can work together on, making little changes here and there to get that lowered. So overall, what are you hoping to gain from this meeting?
Well, I guess I obviously want to change like my eating habits and lower my cholesterol because I don't want it to remain high because it's obviously not healthy. And I guess just to gain an overall understanding of like what high cholesterol is and what I can do to change it so that way I can have an overall healthier lifestyle.
Okay. So just get a little bit more education on what cholesterol is and kind of figure out ways that you can just lower it just in general. So that being said, why don't you tell me a little bit about what you know about cholesterol?
I would say that I probably don't know hardly anything about it.
Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. That's definitely something that we can go over. So just to give you a little bit of an overview based on what you've told me so far, what we're going to go over in this session, we're just going to talk about, kind of break down what cholesterol is, what it does. We'll talk about the 24-hour recall that you completed. So we'll kind of go through that and look at your diet and see if we can relate some things to your cholesterol. And then I'll give you some ways that you can make changes to lower your cholesterol. And then based on those options, we can try and come up with some ideas that work for your lifestyle. So from the ideas that I give you, you can pick and choose which ones work for you, which ones you'd be willing to try, and we can try to work together to come up with some goals that you can make to change in order to lower your cholesterol. Does that sound like something that will work for you?
Yes.
Okay, great. So let's go ahead and get started then. So just an education about what cholesterol is. It's gotten kind of some negative connotations in the media and things like that. So there are good types of cholesterol. Cholesterol is made in your body as well as you can get it from things that you eat. So I feel like that's probably what most people know is they hear about it from certain foods, or if it's listed on like a nutrition label if it contains cholesterol. So cholesterol can be produced in the body. So your body does produce a certain amount of cholesterol, and that can be used for different things. So actually hormones, different types of hormones are made from cholesterol. So it's definitely something that's not entirely bad. The issue is when the levels get too high, is when it can start to cause problems. So the easiest way to understand it, I think, is to break it down into like what they've called the good cholesterol and the bad cholesterol. So you have LDL cholesterol, which it's called low density lipoprotein, which is like this big word, but basically that's the type of cholesterol that can start to build up in the body, and that's when you start to see problems. So like plaque lines the arteries if those levels get too high, and that's where you can see those issues like heart disease and increased risk of embolism and like stroke and things like that. So that's definitely what we would classify as the bad cholesterol. But then there's also HDL cholesterol, which is high density lipoprotein. So that's the good cholesterol in the sense that it actually takes the excess buildup of the bad cholesterol away from your heart and takes it back to the liver. So what it does there is it'll either break it down in the liver, and then it'll pass through your body in waste. And so that's why we refer to it as the good cholesterol. And so that's where you're going to want to see, with the good cholesterol, those HDL levels, the higher the level, which is kind of like we want to lower your cholesterol, but we really want to lower that LDL, the bad cholesterol. Whereas the HDL cholesterol that we've called the good cholesterol is something that we'd like to see higher levels of, because it's going to help rid your body of that bad cholesterol. So does that make sense so far?
Right. So it kind of balances out. So you want to have higher HDL levels to lower LDL levels,
right,
so it balances out.
Exactly.
Not the opposite. Okay.
Right. So I have this sheet here because I'm a visual learner, so it helps for me to see a picture of what I'm looking at. So this right here is going to be just a diagram of what a normal healthy artery looks like. So you've got blood flow going through, it's unobstructed. When you have high cholesterol levels or your diet's not so great and you don't really exercise as much, so you've got that buildup of that LDL, it's going to start to attach to the lining of your arteries, and that's where you start to see that buildup. And so what that does is it becomes plaque, which starts to get hard, and it actually ends up hardening the arterial wall too. So that can lead to other complications, but it really starts to restrict that blood flow there, and so that's where you start to see like an increased risk of high blood pressure and things like that can come along with it. So that's just like a breakdown, like a visual thing. And so I will give you that just to take home. So we'll leave that there. But so like I said, there's different kind of complications that can arise when your levels get too high. So you said you were just like a little slightly elevated.
Right.
Okay. Right. So so we're definitely in that period where the quicker we get it down, the better. We're not quite in that like crucial range of being like really high at risk. So that's definitely a good thing. So next, so depending on, which your doctor may not have discussed this with you. So there are definitely diet and exercise are things that can have a huge impact on your cholesterol. There's also the side where it can be genetics, so you can have high cholesterol through genetics too. So if that's the case, which we can look into that a little bit more with your doctor, but in that case, there may be, just in addition to working on some diet changes and increasing activity levels, we might need to add like a statin, a medication, but that's definitely something that we'll look at as a last resort, because it can definitely be fixed through some diet changes and some exercise. But just wanted to let you know to be aware of that.
I would rather stay away from a lot of drugs. I don't want to have to take a lot of medications every day just because I might forget, and then that can cause an issue, and it's just not something that I'm super on board with, I guess.
Definitely, yeah. I'm the same way. If I can fix it without having to take medications, or
Right.
if I can fight it off without having to take medications, that's definitely the route that I'm going to go. So, like I said, that's just something in the event that, your doctor looked back at your past medical history and saw that it was running in the family, and we can definitely do trial and error. So make those diet changes and increase those exercise levels, or we'll set some goals. If that's something that we run into, we'll definitely look at that as like a last resort. So next thing I want to go over with you, you filled out the 24-hour recall. So basically just like going over your diet. So was that a typical day for you?
No. Usually on the weekends I have a little bit of extra time just to like actually make something more like elaborate, I guess.
Right.
Breakfast and stuff. But on a typical morning, it's more like 5 minutes or less in the amount of time that I have to make something to eat.
Right. So like before classes, during the
Right.
week, basically, it's a lot different from your weekend. Okay.
Yes.
That's definitely understandable. So, so we can just go over this, and then if there's anything that kind of stands out that's different from what you would normally eat during the week, we can address it then. So you said for breakfast you usually have 2 eggs over easy with salt and pepper, 3 pieces of bacon, and some toast with butter and raspberry preserves, and then coffee with creamer. So that's like your go-to on the weekends?
Right.
So that's not what you would eat during the week before school?
I would not have enough time to make that in the morning.
Right, that's definitely, that's the full-on breakfast. So what do you eat for breakfast then during the week?
Usually it's like oatmeal, like Quaker's oatmeal. I'll just put it in the microwave, make my coffee, get out the door, because most of the time I wake up late, so I don't have time to like sit down and eat my breakfast.
Definitely. So, well, that's actually a great option. Oatmeal is really easy. I know it's definitely something that I try and eat a lot. And in addition to that, it's packed with fiber, which is something that we'll talk about a little bit more in detail later. But fiber is going to be one of those things that can actually help lower your cholesterol. So, like you said, oatmeal is really high in fiber. Back to your 24-hour recall from the weekend, the toast, what kind of toast was that? Do you remember?
I believe it was white toast.
Okay.
Which I know is not the good toast.
Well, it definitely doesn't, it doesn't have as many health benefits as whole grain does. So,
I actually don't prefer white bread. I like wheat bread, but we did not have any wheat bread.
Right. Well, so in that case, things like that happens. But, so whole grains and things like whole wheat toast, they're going to have a higher count of fiber than like a white enriched bread is. So that's something just to keep in mind, is that fiber is going to help lower your cholesterol, and it may be something that could be an easy way to incorporate. So like you like toast, that's something that is a good breakfast option for you. So instead of doing white toast or like cutting it out completely, you can just do the whole grain and you're still winning. Or like with sandwiches, you can do the whole grain toast instead, and you're still getting what you want, but you're just getting higher fiber. So, all right, so let's keep trucking on through. So for lunch, you said you had a smoothie. So I'm sure that's probably not something that's standard during the week. So even though I'm a big smoothie person too, so I can definitely understand that. So what do you normally have during the week? Like about as normal and consistent as you can get. Does it just depend on the day? Absolutely, it's different every day.
It depends on when I get out of my classes.
Okay.
Because some days I'll get out by like 12, I'll be home around then, or sometimes it's earlier, like 10:45 or something, so I'll be able to have more time to think about what I'm going to want to eat for lunch. But I would say most of the time it's going to be, like, sometimes I'll have, like, a BLT.
Okay.
Or I'll have sometimes a lean cuisine for, like, lunch. If I'm not planning to go to work, because that's usually something that I take for work because I don't have enough time to to walk all the way to the food court to find
Right.
something that's going to be expensive and take away from my break.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to waste that.
Right.
And it's not going to be healthy. So.
Okay. So, from what it sounds like, most of your meals for lunch you pretty much eat at home.
Right.
Okay. So you said you had the lean cuisine usually, and then a BLT every now and then. With the lean cuisine, what kind of meals are those usually? I know they have a lot of options there.
Well, the ones that I usually typically get are actually, I don't know, they like try to implement like organic
Right.
ingredients, which I don't know how organic those are.
Right.
But I really like the pizzas. I think are good, which they show that they've got quite a bit of protein in them. But then there's the downside of how much sodium's in them and everything, which is not good. And then I really like I think it's like a cheese enchilada with like corn salsa or something, which apparently the corn tortillas or something is like organic, and so is the corn. But again, I don't know how true that is.
Right.
So.
Well, so I mean, like you said, it sounds like you've got a pretty good idea. I mean, those options are definitely going to give you that convenience factor and that quick, easy meal. The only downside of meals like that are frozen already is that sodium level. So that's not something that necessarily you'd have to cut out. It's just something that you'd want to make sure you're watching. With having high cholesterol, high blood pressure, sometimes they go hand in hand. And high sodium diet can actually contribute to that. So that's just something that you want to keep in the back of your mind when you're buying meals like that. And I know they have options that, might be low sodium, so that could be something that you can look at. So back to your 24-hour recall. So you had a snack of cuties, which those are awesome. I love those too. So then for dinner you had mashed potatoes, a roll with some butter, corn, fried chicken, and some lemonade. Yes. So is that like a typical dinner, or is that?
I guess because I don't usually typically make like our food for the whole family and everything. Right. It's usually something that like my dad or my stepmom will cook. So it's usually whatever they want, I'll eat it. If I'm home, otherwise, it's pretty much up to me to figure out what do I want to eat. When am I going to have time to go and get that?
Right.
But I guess for my parents, that's probably typical to have, like, fried food, yeah.
Right. So, like you said, I'm assuming you live at home then?
Yes.
Okay. So you live at home, so pretty much dinner is just kind of whatever your parents decide to make.
Yes. It's like
or don't
on
make,
your own
sure.
night.
Okay.
Pretty much. So.
Okay. So based on that and how your typical days at school look like, there's just a few options that I wrote down for us here that we can go over. So we've kind of already touched on the fiber one. Definitely increasing the fiber that you have, and we want to kind of get it to the normal range, or what they recommend for everybody to have, is about 25 to 30 grams, and honestly, a lot of people don't even hit that mark. It just kind of depends. So maybe within like 5 to 10 gram increase of that, so maybe like 20 to 35, that kind of range is where we'd like to be. So you can, I know you said you have the cuties as a snack, so those fruits and vegetables are going to really have that fiber in them, especially ones with skin. So like apples are a big one, grapes, different kinds of berries, things like that. So, and those can be really easy to pack as snacks, and you can grab them and go, because I know time's a big thing. We've already touched on the whole grains, so whole wheat bread instead of white, oatmeal. So you've pretty much already got that one down. Saturated fat, so the less processed foods. So the lean cuisines, I know those are really easy to take to lunch, which those are fine. So if you have that for lunch, maybe for dinner, like chicken breast or ground turkey, things like that, instead of red meat, are going to cut down on the saturated fat. And then activity level is going to be something else that that's going to be the big one as far as increasing that good cholesterol that we talked about, that HDL. So I don't know, out of these three things, so the fiber, saturated fat, and the activity level, Which one do you think would be the easiest for you, or would you be the most willing to maybe try to start setting goals for?
I would probably be willing to try probably all of them.
All of them? Okay.
Just because I don't think, I like fruits and vegetables. I feel like I could incorporate less processed meals in my diet. And when I don't work, or, even when I work, maybe just trying to, park further away from the mall, even though, I know that sucks. But, if I can do that.
I mean, honestly, that's a great way. And I think people, when they think of increasing their activity levels entirely, they think they have to, go to the gym for 60 minutes a day.
Yeah, that's what I picture.
So, I mean, and you go to class, so more than likely you're parking and walking to class. So things like that actually will add up. Even if it's just taking the stairs instead of, riding the elevator, things like that. So that's, I think, you seem like you have a good mindset and you're ready to start making changes. So if it's okay with you, let's maybe pick 2 goals that we could try and work on for next time. So maybe, I know you said with the fiber, maybe we could start, switching that wheat bread out for some whole grains whenever you have toast or sandwich. And then we could do apple slices for a snack in between the day or something like that. And then activity level, that's kind of up to you. The recommended is going to be 30 minutes a day of moderate, and then, or that's for the week, and then 75 is going to be that vigorous activity. So, but even like you said, parking further away, or just taking a walk around your neighborhood or something like that is going to get you to where you want to be. Does that sound like something that you think you could work on?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think we've gone over a lot of good things here, and you seem like, you're ready to start making changes. Anything that we've gone over, do you have any questions so far?
I don't think so. Not at the moment, but I might have some later on.
Okay. Well, I had a really good time talking with you, and I think we've definitely got some good goals down here that can help you in your goal of decreasing your overall cholesterol.
Yes.
So it was nice talking to you,
yes,
and
nice
we'll see where we go in our next session.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Cool.